Welcome to another episode of Shop Happenings. Today in the shop we're going to take a look at the toy we're making. That toy was designed back in October. We started in early November. We've been making great progress with that toy. You're going to see a little bit of the machining we're doing, a little bit of the progress we're making. Mostly we're going to take a look at how the parts are being assembled. There's a lot of assembly here. We just got our screws in yesterday, and we're making good progress with all of our pieces and parts. We just need to finish up. So let's take a look at how we're doing. On this bench, you'll see that we've got all our wheels done. Remember, we had to make 210 of these. We've made more. There may be some rejects or things. There's a big split in this one. This may not make the grades. We're gonna have to go through these. We have more than 210. Like I said, we made extras just in case we have some issues. Our Dozer engines are all done. Let's take a look at one of these. So we have the side of our Dozer, the radiator in the front, the other side. And what we've done in the tops, or I should say in the back, this is where the cab is going to sit. We wanted to make it assembled so that we can't see how it was assembled. So the screws should all be hidden. So we used our Craig jig to make pocket holes. These pocket holes will allow us to attach the motor to the tracks. So here's one that's put together. As you can see, the pocket screws are here and here. We did a little bit of work to make sure that they aren't going to be seen in case there's a deviation in the size of our parts, which there shouldn't be. But I think it looks really good. So far, so good. I mean, you see there's the side view of what our Dozer is going to look like. It's getting bigger. It's coming together. It's pretty exciting. So that's the Dozer. If we walk over here, this is the jig that a student put together yesterday to make that. He's used an old Dozer engine that was a reject part that we made as a fixturing device to allow the motor to sit the same way every time. So that motor is going to sit on here like that. Once that motor is placed on this fixture, the Dozer tracks go on each side of it. He's going to use a quick clamp to clamp it together, and then he'll put the 4 pocket screws in. So far he's got 2 done. They came out yesterday really good, and we're hoping to make more of those today. If we go over here, our push arms are all done. They'll be going on sometime soon. Once we get our Dozer tracks on, these can jump on once we get our cabs on. Our cabs are in another location. So these are push arms. That's out of black walnut. As you can see, we made the Dozer engines are actually out of red oak, and the tracks are actually out of 2x6 material, which I believe is spruce. Right here, we've got one of our Goose Neck pieces. This is the first time we've put one of these together. So our 5th wheel mounts where my thumb is. You can see our Goose Neck is here. It's got 2 screws in it. So far, so good. It's the first one we've done. Our goal is to make this surface perfectly flush, and this one's perfect. This is amazing. So hopefully all 21 of those come out the way they should. So there's our first Goose Neck piece that's put together. Our trucks are making good progress. Here's one of our truck bodies. This is the frame, the 5th wheel, and the engine. Motors are in another location. The student that built the engines thought, wait a minute, the front end, which is right here, is lacking something. It needs something more. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And he goes, I want to make a bumper. What he did is he looked at the bumper on the tractor trailer, the trailer portion. He liked that, so we made another one for here. This is the bumper that's going on the front of the truck. So let's see if we can get a peek at that. So that's going to sit right there, just like that. And that was laser engraved. I think that's going to be a really nice addition to our motor and the front of our truck. I think it's going to really dress things up. And this is out of black cherry. We have a little bit of, there's pine here, there's poplar there, cherry here, oak on this. So we're trying to use a whole bunch of different kinds of wood and hopefully give it a really cool look when it's completed. All our Dozer tracks are right here on this bench, right next to where we're putting the Dozers together, which are just on the bench next door there. So these are all done and all set. We're going to skip by our standing bench. We'll see a bunch of our 5th wheels here. These are all cut out. These are being done on a mill. These are coming out really good. These are a bracket for the push arm for the Dozer. There's our 5th wheel plates. They'll have to be put in later. This goes on the back of our trailer. Our trailer's kind of being held up. We've had some issues with that. That's a really complicated part, more complicated than I thought. We have a little piece here. This is going to be the hook mechanism that holds the 5th wheel and the truck and trailer together. So this is going to hold the 5th wheel plate, so I called it not a fifth wheel plate, but I called it a latch plate. It's going to hold the plate to the trailer. It's kind of a complicated little device, but it's very simple. Those came out really good, so I'm really pleased with those. You can see here we're machining parts for our Goose Neck. So here's our Goose Neck piece. There's a video on that. I'll show you it at some point. Over here, these are the Bulldozer blade mounts. There's a lot of holes that go into these. It's a really simple part, but the arc here had to be super accurate because we're going to take sheet metal, which is here, and that's our next step with this machine. We have to bore 4 holes in this that line up perfect with these holes, and we have to actually curve this piece with a slip roll. So that process is coming along nicely. Over here, we have one of our trailers already set up, and we're machining this notch out with a machine to get it really hyper accurate. So far, so good. Like I said, we've had some mistakes. We didn't get a vise tight. We've screwed up our fixtures. We didn't have that snug. We forgot to zero our machine at the end of the day. We're stumbling with this a little bit, which is okay. It's part of the learning process. Over here, we see we have a whole bunch that are done. We have some ash. We have some cherry, some poplar. As I said, we're using up stuff that kind of that we have kicking around, that's been around for a long time. It's kind of scrap, and we're making toys out of it. Behind that, these are all the small drawers for our machinist chest, and these are the big drawers for our machinist chest. So all the bottoms are being done. You can see right here, we've got a bottom in this one. They're not nailed in yet, and we're going to put a little glue on those. We're going to nail them in with little brads, and it's going to come out really nice. So these are coming along really good. Our frame for our cabinets aren't done yet, but that's okay. We're going to get our drawers done and kind of fit our cabinet around them. If we jump over here to our Metronics, here's our cabs for our truck. This one happens to be mainly out of cherry, so we've got a driver window. My student who was making these goes, "We're putting a back window in?" And we didn't initially make a back window. He said, "Well, it needs a back window." So we real quick designed one and master cammed it out and put it in our mill. There's the side window, and then the hard part, which is getting this angled face machined. We've got a little fixture inside our Metronics to do that, and what we're doing, if we open up our door here, we've put an angle plate and a parallel, and the cab sits in here like this. Our zero reference point's the angle plate, but this has to be pivoted so that the windshield where my thumb is level in the machine. That's real simple. We put a bubble stick on it. Bubble stick? Yeah, bubble stick. Bubble stick's a level. That's all it is. That's a bubble stick. We call them bubble sticks, not levels. It's more fun. So anyway, we put a bubble stick on here. Our bubble stick, when the bubble gets level, we're yeah, that's great. We're making over here, we're truncating our exhaust pipes. I like how these are coming out. He left a little flat spot on here so we don't have a sharp edge. I think that's brilliant. I like that, and that's just a real nice detail. So here's our exhaust pipe for our Dozer. Those are coming along nicely. Our fifth wheel pins, these are all done. All we have to do is drop a glue and shove them in the hole once we get the Goose Necks completed, which hopefully will be later today. Here's our Goose Neck plate. These are being marked for the hole locations. We've made 2 holes. That's where that funky little bracket's going to go later, and this is what's going to allow us to hook our trailer up. Over on this bench, we've assembled, or started to assemble, our Dozer Cab. So this is our Dozer Cab. As you can see, we have our hydraulic tank over here, and we have another hydraulic tank over here. That's what we're calling them. This is our normally Dozers on the tanks, they have the model like a D6, D8, whatever. We just put the year here to give it our model, to kind of give it a date. But you can see we've machined all the windows into the cab. This happens to be cedar. So it's aromatic cedar. It's the stinky stuff. It really makes a neat glue up. So we glued all these together. We glued boards together and then glued them in cubes. And we like the effect. So my student that found this goes, oh, let's do them out of that. And I kind of, yeah, let's try that. And it's going to come out really cool. On the back, the fuel tank goes in the back of the cab. So we made our fuel tank. And again, we've put our company logo and Candor on here. That's going to get screwed to the back here. That's what these two little marks are for on each side of Candor. And we're going to drill holes there, and this will get screwed on. So there'll be 2 screws there, and hopefully that'll look industrial enough to look like a bulldozer. On the back side of our Dozer cabs, we have all of our little fenders. They've got to make 21 of these. This is a really complicated little part. We've struggled like crazy with these. They're coming out okay. I'm really pleased. They're going to go on the truck starting next week, probably after Christmas break. But these are coming along nice. The weird part about these is because they're different sides of the truck. This is going to be the right side, and the left side is the exact mirror of this. And this is really tough to make these because they're so small in the way they're bent and designed. And maybe someday we could redesign that and make a better design so it's easier to make. But there's 2 guys working on this, and they're doing an outstanding job. I'm really pleased with how they're working out with those. And maybe I should have shared this later, but I thought I'd show you anyway. We took our laser engraver and put our Candor C on our truck windows, our truck door, I should say. We put the year down here. It makes it look like a DOT number at the bottom. So both sides of our truck cab, this is a defective part. We cut the angle wrong, so this isn't quite right. So we're using this to proof out all our programs. We proofed out all our windows with this. Now we proofed out our laser cut for this. And you can see our window here is really wacky just because of the proofing of the process of making this. But just thought I'd share that we're putting this in as a laser engraving so that our truck has at least our company logo, if you will. So this is a quick project we do in CAD class. We design something in SolidWorks, we draw up a block, it goes into Corel. Once we massage it in Corel, we throw it into our laser cutter, and we're gonna cut away at this. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. So what our laser cutter does, he has autofocus turned on, and it's changing the focus to make sure the focus is correct, and hopefully this turns out. But now that our laser cutter's done, he's going to open up the lid here, pull that out, and let's see what it looks like. Oh, sweet. So the next thing he'll do is he'll take the paper off the back. He'll take 220 grit sandpaper, sand off the edge. Then he'll go to 500 grit wet or dry sandpaper in the sink, sand that off, and then buff it. He'll check that out in the next video. So as you can see, this is the final step in our process. What this student's doing is buffing out these sanding marks we made with our 500 grit wet or dry sandpaper. And what it's going to do is make this so we can see through the edges. I mentioned before we're making crates in my freshman drafting class. This is the crate we made. I'm really pleased how these came out. They're very durable. I can actually stand on this. You can see we have an end frame. I showed you this in another video. The side frame. These are all just glued and nailed together, with the exception of side frames. They're screwed together. We hide the screw with this slat, so it's kind of in there. We see we kind of overdrove our screw here. But what's nice, even if we split this, this slat is glued and nailed to these two, so everything really gets tied together well. So I like how these are made. They did a good job on those. Well, I hope you enjoyed our December update. I want to wish everyone watching a Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year and a happy holiday season. This is a time for family and friends, and a time to thank the people around you that you care for and just cherish in your lives. And there's so many wonderful people that have touched my life throughout the years. There's no way I could thank everyone. So for everyone watching, know that I deeply respect all of you. I care for you. I wish you a Merry Christmas, a wonderful New Year. I look forward to continue to work with you, and I hope you really enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Merry Christmas.